I want to ask you a little bit about the dynamic of your comedy partner is also your romantic partner, and that's something that fascinates me. My wife is super smart, really funny. We've never collaborated on anything. And I've always thought, that's like a Bermuda Triangle that I have not gone into. And maybe we will someday, but how does that dynamic work? Or you always knew it was going to work?
Well, we were on an improv team together, and we started doing sketch videos before we were ever dating. And it was in making those things, because she's so smart and funny, that attracted us to each other. And we started dating kind of after we were already working together a bit. But she's the best audience. You know, she's the person that I want to make, that it feels the best to make her laugh. She has such a good laugh, and I love making her laugh. So, and it's been a real cheat for us to work together, not just because we have each other as an audience and as cheerleaders, but also, you know, in this business, you don't see your spouse if you're working as hard as we're working. So thank God we're on set together.
That's really nice.
You know, we get to be together. I think it's different for different people, but I mean, you know, your wife being smart and funny, you know what it's like to make that person laugh. And
yes,
you know what I mean? Like
if I can make my wife really hard, and also if she can really laugh and she makes me really laugh, that's the glue.
Yeah,
that's the long-term glue.
That's right.
Have you ever wondered if Lucia said yes just because, accepted your proposal just because she was yes-anding you?
Oh my God.
Because of improv training.
Honestly, I had
That's a fair question.
I had until now, but you know what? She is a very good improviser.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was she going to do? You put out a scene,
no.
You laid it out there.
Yeah.
Will you? And she has to say yes, and we'll have a child.
She's trained to not say no. You're
saying
right.
that's the best. That's what
I married an improviser too, and this is making me really look back Usual Suspects.
And guess what? It was during a sketch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you afterwards were crying and said, "You said yes. You have to."
Oh no.
Oh God. Well,
you guys had your first. Your only child. Is only child?
Yeah, only. Your
only child during the making of Hacks.
Yeah. Well, you know, funnily enough, we were not planning to get married. We were like, oh, we'll just won't get married, and you know, we don't need to do that. And then there was a point in time when I was like, well, I want to get her a ring, and I'll float it. I'll float it. Thinking that she'd be like, we've talked about this. We've talked about this. We're not going to get married.
Yeah.
And she said yes. And because we had been together at that point for 15 years. Yeah. So we had been together for a really long time. But we weren't going to have children. And so we did end up getting married. We thought it'd be a nice way to celebrate our time together.
I'm telling you, it's all improv. Yes, Andy.
Yes, no kidding. Yeah. The sperm and the egg were like,
that's right. They were doing their own scene.
An improv class with sperm and egg.
They were, yeah. It was their own scene, and they crushed it. It worked. They crushed it.
I love that idea. And scene. Sperm. You work at a gym. Egg. This is your first time at the gym, and go. You're pregnant.
Actually, no, it's crazy. We didn't find out. We had been traveling, and she had missed one of her periods, and basically we found out when she was 2.5 months pregnant. So the next day, we saw a heartbeat, and that was 2 weeks before our wedding.
Oh my God.
So we got married, came home, started season 2. We were shooting season 2. And then he came early. Again, this is like, again, sperm and egg doing their own thing.
Yeah.
He came early on his own time, and it was while we were shooting. And so she did direct between contractions because she was directing that day. I know, which is mentally unwell. I mean, it's badass and so cool.
It's pretty badass, yeah.
But it's also...
She's earned the right to be called Lucia.
Yeah, oh good.
Wow, that's what it takes.
She's earned
it. I'm sorry, Lucia, you're gone now. It's
Rest
Lucia now. Rest in peace. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So it was a crazy year. It was a really, really crazy year.
What's cool too is that as you go on through your career, you have this document, the actual show, where, I mean, in a weird way, I don't think about this much, but I have it too, because I met my wife on a remote shoot. We went to an advertising agency, and people look it up online all the time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm there just doing the Conan thing where I'm on a remote, being an ass. And then I just start talking to this one woman in the room, and just within seconds, I'm not even trying to be funny. We're just talking about,
wow.
Yeah, no, my dad, right. And so, okay.
Wow.
And you like cats? That's funny. No, I had a cat when I was a kid, and my producer was listening on headphones outside the office where we were doing all this remote. He's like, what the fuck is he doing? So we have us meeting.
Wow, that's really cool.
Then we have the episode where I'm just back from the hospital because my daughter was born.
That's really
And I'm
cool.
talking about it on the air. Then we have the episode where I'm just back from the hospital because my son was born. And I think, I haven't really thought about it that much till this moment now, but those are weird documents.
Yeah.
I remembered bringing my son when he was little, and I brought my daughter to work right after she was born. Not right after, but And
we wiped her down.
The doctor said, she was still, umbilical cord was stretched over 9th Avenue. Cabs were hitting it. It plays a low E note. But anyway, I brought my daughter in when she was old enough to come into and was sitting at I saw Tina Fey recently, and we reminisced about this because Tina, I will never forget. Tina was up in 8H rehearsing Saturday Night Live, and I'm down on 6 on the late night set, and I'm sitting and I'm holding my daughter, and one of the cameramen zoomed in on my daughter. Suddenly double doors fly open and Tina comes running in, and she was like, give me that baby. This is before she had her own daughter, but she was like, you could see that she had baby fever, and she was like, give me that, oh my God. And I almost didn't get Nev back. And then it wasn't long afterwards that she had her own daughter, but it was, I have all these memories that are, my show work is intertwined with, my meeting my wife, falling in love, getting married, children. It all becomes a piece.
Yes.
And that's going to be part of, all the work that you do going forward, even after Hex, it'll all be entwined.
Yeah, I know. We think about that a lot. We actually, we talk about the show like our first child in a way, because it is like raising a child in a way. And then he came and now has a sibling, and he visits set sometimes. And it's and there's so much now we have a lot of,
and they fight.
And they do fight. Well, he just really wants to go to Crafty. That's all he cares about. Really. But now we have a lot of footage of, because Gene is similar to Tina. Gene really wants Luca whenever he's on set, and they have a great relationship, and she threw my wife's baby shower. And so we have all these photos and videos of him on set with Gene, and sitting at Deborah Vance's desk as like an infant, and it is really cool that we'll have that.
That's great.
Forever. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because after a while, I always think back to the I Love Lucy show where Lucy goes to the club to tell Ricky that she's pregnant, and it's just fascinating to me because that was a show business relationship in real life, but also they were doing a show about that. And then you saw all the ways in which it was intertwined.
And we go by Polly Lou, that's our moniker, which is a nod to Desi Lou. We don't have a show about our life, but we have a show that is our life. So
you play the bongos.
That's right. I wish. Jimmy could pick up the bongos. That would actually be good. He starts smoking a lot of weed and does the bongos because Kayla just drives him off the deep end. That might be actually we need something new. We need something new for Jimmy. A new gear.
I can help you with that. I'll be on set to pitch.